Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and we have a debutante today. So Wichu heard Simon, well, I'm saying, I don't know, should it be Wichu or Wichu? Not as many languages use the short I sound, so I'm going with Wichu, but it could be Wihu or Wishu or Wiha, I don't know. Anyway, Wichu, that's what I'm saying, and I'm sticking with it. He heard Simon mention the 147 snooker maximum break, and as every snooker pedant knows, there is an actual way to make a break of 155 in very peculiar circumstances with a free ball. But 147 is traditionally known as snooker's maximum break and has only occasionally been achieved, and only sometimes on TV, even by the superstars of the game. It requires you to pot all the red balls, each of them followed by a black ball, and then the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, and black in that order to score 147. And it is a much coveted and iconic number. And it is embedded in the center of this puzzle, which also has snooker pockets as on a 12 by 6 snooker table. So we'll look at this in a moment. I'm really looking forward to giving it a try. Don't forget, we've still got time on Patreon, a week left to have a go at the Hollywood Lunchbox, the collection of, or the sandwich Sudoku pack. You can munch your way through it, especially if you can get through the first slightly indigestible offering. The rest goes down more easily. But I was just having a look at the comments, and they are actually very, very complimentary. So it seems to have hit the spot for a lot of people looking for something to crunch on this month. We believe, well, I'm halfway through testing the next Patreon offering, and I want to assure you, I'm halfway through, remember, I want to assure you that it's certainly got a more approachable start, and I don't think there's anything quite as difficult yet. So we will see as I keep testing that. Now, that's on Patreon, where there's loads of other content. This week alone, we've had a connections video, my very hard crossword, and often there are extra packs to attempt. Loads of puzzling fun to be had there. We've also got, what have we got? Well, I mean, there's so much going on. We're planning to stream on Sunday, and that is going to be this game that has been recommended by several people to us, because I think we're British and it's a quintessentially British culture-based game. This is terrifying. What is British culture? I can't even remember the title. Thank goodness you're here. That's the title of the game. I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen. Not safe for work. Don't let your children watch it. That's what I'm told. Extraordinary scenes on Cracking the Cryptic. Further extraordinary scenes. I think Simon's already mentioned today. We are booked into the Stratford Literary Festival at the back end of October. And there will be a link under the video for how you could book tickets to come and see us. Talk through, we'll probably talk through a puzzle. We'll probably solve a puzzle live, in fact. And let's hope somebody turns up to see it. We're not authors, so maybe a literary festival isn't a natural place to turn up, but we don't exactly make a lot of public appearances, so it is a chance. Anyway, that is coming up in the future. In the present, you can get our merchandise, and that's all available on the links under the video, along with Sven's Sudoku pad and all of our apps, which feature Killer Sudoku, Arrow Sudoku, Thermo Sudoku. They're all relevant to today. They don't feature puzzles by debutantes, unlike today's puzzle, but they do feature puzzles by very experienced and expert setters. And that's always some guarantee of quality. Now, that is not to say we won't get quality today. Let's do the rules of Snooker by Wichu. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Cells marked in orange, so there are 9 cells marked in orange, form an extra region using the numbers from 1 to 9 once each. Now, on the original submission, there were actually only 6 cells, and brown was used, which is more of a snooker colour. but I can't get brown on the palette. And since I had to mark up 3 extra cells, the 147, there we go. We couldn't use brown. I'm using orange. Cells separated by a knight's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So I am going to need Knighty McKnightface to remind me when I forget. Thank you to Emily for giving me Knighty McKnightface. We'll see how that works. Cells in a cage sum to the given total, so those will add up to 7. Digits on a thermometer increase from the bulb, so that digit has a lower value than that one. Digits on an arrow sum to the number in the attached circle, so those two add up to that. There we go. Knight's move applies. Give it a try. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. So here we go. This 4 cage is a 1 and a 3 pair. You can't put a 1 in a thermotip. That's a good knowledge bomb to take to the bank. And therefore, we're going to have to put 3 and 1 that way round, and that only leaves 2 to go there. So we have started in the extra region. Well, I suppose we were given a start in the extra region. We've contributed a 2 to it. Now, this feels like it wants to help. This cage contains either 1, 4 or 2, 3 to add up to 5. Don't know. This is in 7 cage. The only digits remaining for the extra region are 3, 5 and 6 that would fit in that cage. That's not so helpful. A 3 cage, sorry, I should have marked that up straight away. That's clearly a 1, 2 pair. Now, the knight's move. We're not forgetting Knighty McKnightface. Well, I was trying to, but I failed. Both of these 1s are pointing at that cell. So this cage, if it's 5, 1, is that way around. If it's 2, 4, we know which way around it is because of the 4. I don't think this 1, 2 affects the 1, 4, 7. So I suspect to make the next progress, we are going to use the knight's move rule because none of the rest of these indications in the grid actually seem very helpful. In fact, I am struck by how little is given in this grid. It is very surprising to me that so few cages and tiny thermos and arrows can yield a unique solution. I'm really looking forward to finding out how WeChoose made that work. And I'm not there yet. So this is, okay, in a very similar way. What have we got? I've missed some digit 8. 3, 5, 6, 8, 9 are the remaining digits to go in these orange cells. That one could be 3. This pair doesn't have a 2 in it. It's either 3, 5 or 1, 7. If it's 1, that digit is seen by both a 1 and a 3 on the knight's move. So that's the higher digit and this is the lower one. I feel like I'm missing something very, very clear. But it's quite difficult. These numbers don't stretch in respect of knight's moves to the corners where the other clues sit. 1, 4, 7. Oh, where's 2 in this row? It's not here because both of those cells see this. And one of them does contain a 2. That one by knight's move, of course. That could be a 2. Otherwise, it's in one of these, and that becomes a 5, 1 cage. This digit can't be a 9 because of the thermo. I don't know. That's not actually very helpful at all. 1, 2, 3. Right, I'm not really seeing what to do next in any way. Gosh. Let's just work on it in our brains and see if we can come up with something to do. One, 3, 2. So I feel like I have to get to work on these corners. and the clues projecting from them. That 1-2 pair, well, I mean, they both see the end of that thermo, but that's not relevant at all, given that that has to be greater than 3 already. This one does 2. Wow, I'm sorry, this is quite tough, isn't it? I mean, that was a nice quick start, but then grinding to a sudden desperate halt. That's fair enough, because there's something clever going on here. Where would 1 go? If that's a 1, then 1 would have to be here in column 2. In fact, where is 1 in column 2? That 1 rules out those cells. This one rules out all of those. This is ruled out by that 1-2 pair, and this by the thermo. So actually that is the one in column 2. Did I call it row 2? I don't know. I didn't mean to, but I might have done. Now, that finishes this cage. It means one of these two is definitely a 1 by Sudoku, and knight's move doesn't help. But this arrow now means this can't be a 5, or we would need a 4 on the arrow. And that means this is now 2, 5, or 7. This is bigger than 3, but it can't be 4. Not as helpful as I would have liked. 4 in box 2. All of those are ruled out by the 2 4s we've got in the grid now. So now we have to put 4 in one of those 2 cells, and that gets rid of 4 from this one, which gets rid of 3 from the corner. Also, that's created a 1-2 pair in the box. So this digit appears there in box 3. And where does it appear in row 1? It has to be in one of those 3 cells, and 2 is not an option there. So this digit is a 1. That gives us a 6 in the corner and in the orange extra region, which can then be ruled out of the other orange cells. Now, this has become 3 or 8. Can it really be 8? If it was 8, that would be 7, and this would have to be 9. And there'd be nowhere for 2 in the box. In fact, 2 is placed in this box by Sudoku since we just completed the cage. Actually, I could probably have done that before, but I've noticed it now. So that's a 2. That's a 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. And there's no 3 in the other corners owing to the extra region. Right, but that was progress, and there's a 5, 8, 9 triple waiting to be resolved. Now, that 2 is ruled out of both of those cells, so in row 5, it's got to be there. That lets us fill in 1 and 5 in the 6 cage. This can't be a 5. Now, we're making some progress, and I'm not forgetting the knight's move, which is good news. Good news for me and my brain. We need a 1 in row 4, that has to be there. We need a 1 in boxes 8 and 9. That one can't be a 1 on the knight's move, so we can write a 1 there and a 1 there. The 1 we wrote in the 8 cage fills it. All the cages are done. Not all the thermos though, by a long chalk. Good snooker reference there. Now, 1 plus something equals 5, 8, or 9 here. All the 1s are done. Right, so 2 in this box can't go in there, those cells, because of the knight's move, so it goes here. How are we doing on 2s? We've got 5 of them placed. This 2 sees all of those positions, and this one sees that. In box 9, 2 can only be in one of those cells. Then in box 6, it's in one of those 2. Yeah, the knight's move does these odd little patterns all over the place, so it's always worth bearing in mind. Now, we've got a 5 there. That means 5's in one of these 3 cells. Oh, it also very obviously means 5's not in the center pocket here. That's 8 or 9. Now, whatever is here, this is interesting because that cell sees all of those cells in box 1. So this is already 4, 6, 7, 8 or 9. If it's not a 4, then in box 1 it must be there. It would be great to rule it out of being a 4, but that may not be possible. Oh, we've got to place a 3 in column 3 in one of those 2 cells. And this central row was giving me pause earlier. One of these is definitely a 5. 2, 1, 4, 7. We've still got to get a 3, 5, 6, 8, 9 into it. I don't know, that's not so easily ruled on, I feel. 7 can't sit in those cells by Sudoku. 5, 1, 2, we've got a 3 in one of these. Is that any use? Where's 4 in the box? In box 4 specifically. One of those 3 cells, but in box 7, it's in one of those 3. I don't know. Oh, we got it down to one of those 2 in box 2, and therefore it's in one of those 2 in box 3, which I never pencil marked or even noticed. I wonder if we're going to end up colouring things. Whatever is in here sees all of those cells. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, these, I feel like I might colour all of these and then just see where they go in box 4, maybe. I don't know, it's a bit haphazard. I'm not sure what I'm proving there. No, it's not bad, actually. I'm going to try it. It might be a huge error. Let's use the snooker colours. So red, yellow, can't use brown. I'm not going to use pink or black. Green, blue, purple. Let's do that. Now, this red, the reason I'm doing it is because red can't be in any of those cells. So either this is 3 and red, or red is a 5. This green can't be in any of those. It might go there, but it might go here. I don't know. And what is this? That sees all of those. So this 8 or 9 is in one of those 2. Oh, it's weird. It doesn't quite yield anything, but it's very close. Oh, I have a 7 to put into one of those 2 cells for column 5. Just noticed that. Trying to find something else now to actually make a go of this. I don't know, one of those is a 3. Is that, it feels like that ought to help. Now, one of these 2 is a 5 due to the extra region. So nothing else in the column can be a 5. Or maybe it's about this cell, which can't appear in any of those. So this is 4, 7, or 8. If it's 4 or 7, it must appear in one of those 2 in the column. Or if it's 8, we could extend that to the central cell. Except, yeah, we could. That would be nice. No, we couldn't, funnily enough. So, okay, let's get rid of that colouring. It didn't do anything for me. Let's try colouring that cell red. That has to be in one of these 2. Because what I worked out was if it's 4 or 7, it sees all of those cells and has to go up there. If it's 8, this is a 9 in the circle. And since this would be 8 in the extra region, that would be 5, and therefore red being 8 would still go up here. So one of these two is red. If it's there, one of those two is red. If it's there, that one specifically is red. This is tricky. And it feels like it isn't insurmountable somehow. But on the other hand, I do think I have to have the inspiration to see how we make progress, and I'm not getting it at the moment. Need to just think more clearly somehow. 7s. Seven in box. Okay, let's just have a quick think about 7 in red. That would cause 8 here, which makes that 9 and that 5. So 7 in red would make that a 5 and this an 8. 6, 1, 5, 8. 7 would be in one of those two. There's too many digits to juggle with, really. That's not limiting things. So I've got to find something else that is. There's some very good question, like when we asked where was 1 in column 2, yet to be asked. I'm not making much of a fist of it, I suppose, but it's tricky, that's why. Right, those positions for 7, rule 7 out of that cell. Those 2 cells even. So where is 7 in column 7? It's not there or there because of this one, and it's not there because of this one. So 7 in column 7 is definitely in one of those 2 cells. I'm marking across box borders, which is always a bit dangerous, but I'm keeping my eye on it. And therefore, they both see this cell, which can no longer be a 7. So that stops it being 8 in the corner. And we're now down to 2 possibilities on this arrow. And that was interesting and slightly peculiar. So we worked out if that was a 7. Well, we didn't. But if that was a 7, the 7 in box... Right, so one of these is a 7. And if that's a 7, where's 7 in box 9? It's ruled out of all of those cells, so it would have to be here. So either that is a 7, or in column 7 that's a 7, and then that's a 7. So now we know that 7 is in one of those 2 cells in box 9. And 7 is definitely in one of the 2 same columns in box 6, because those 3 are all ruled out by that. So the 7 in column 8 now has to be in one of these 3. Which again feels like a surprising result. I am going to mark up these 2 cells because now these are all the possible locations for 7 in box 6 marked up. But I do feel, well, it's been important that 7's in one of those 2. Now, given that 7 is confined to those places in box 9, in row 7 it must be in one of these 2. And unfortunately, they don't see anywhere helpful into box 4. It's probably not their fault. This cannot be 4, because where would 4 go in box 8? Look at that. This 4 sees those cells, and this one would see all of those. My gosh, that's hard to see. So that's 8, that's 9, and our extra region of snooker pockets are complete. Or our extra region is complete, to use the proper number linguistically. Right, that 8 sees all of these cells. So 8 is now in one of those 2. Is that the information we needed? Is this the droid we were looking for? That 5 can't be, oh, it can't be in either of those two, but more importantly, probably it can't be in those. So 5 in box 3 is up in one of those 3. They all see that cell. Don't know what that does. What have we got to place in the central row? 3, 6, and 9. 9, 1, 8. I mean, I know I'm only making very incremental progress, but I do think some of these deductions get quite important. So it's worthwhile continuing to focus on them. And I know it's worth focusing on the Sudoku that they bring about. And sometimes I'm not that quick to see what the effects are. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I can't take that call at the moment because I'm talking to you. Now, okay, what we said about red was that one of these was going to be an 8. Is that any use? No, doubt it. It is, look. Oh no, I should just use the fact that that 8 is looking at this. I was going to use that being one of those reds being an 8 to eliminate 8 from there, but I don't need to be that convoluted. I can just do that based on this. In fact, this 8 sees all of those cells. So I'm placing 8 in box 6 and getting rid of my red colouring. 8 is in one of those 2 cells there. By getting rid of my red colouring, I don't mean I'm taking my sweater off. Now, there's an 8 in one of those cells by Sudoku. This 8 sees all of these. So one of those is an 8, and there's an 8 in one of these 2. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is an interesting pattern in a Knight's Move Sudoku, because it ends up meaning that one of these 2 has to be an 8. And the reason is, if that was an 8 in box 8, that would see both of these cells, and that would be an 8 in box 5. However, the alternative to that being an 8 is that being an 8, and that means one of these 2 is an 8. And that rules 8 out of all of these cells, which might be interesting, but probably isn't. These 2, being the places for 8 in box 1, rules 8 out of there. So now 8 in box 2 is in one of these 3 cells, which are sort of offset, but all see that. Okay, so that didn't quite bear the fruit I was hoping for. Going back to this set of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which are gradually reducing possibilities, but too slowly to make it look like they're really getting us somewhere. Oh no, I was going to say that 8 sees all of these, but I've already pencil marked it into one of these 2. And it's in one of those and one of these. 8 in row 3. Yes, why have I said it's not in either of those? Goodness me, I'm right. 8 in row 3, I said it can't be there because of what we looked at with these, and there must be an 8 in one of those. I said it can't be there because of these positions. So the 8 in row 3 only has one possible place, and there it is. So this is not an 8. This is 8 in box 7. It's quite tricky to find this sort of stuff, honestly. I mean, if you've... So, at the beginning, I trailed Arrow Sudoku, App, Killer, and Thermo. What I should have trailed is Chess Sudoku, where you learn a lot of these techniques for chess move Sudokus. There's a number of excellent king and knight puzzles, and indeed a few queen puzzles, which are quite fun as well. Now, 5 in box 1 now has to be in one of these 2 cells. Therefore, the 5 in column 3 is in one of those 2, which both see those cells, ruling 5 out of those and not doing a lot else. 4 in column 2 has to be in one of those places. They're not both looking at something. This could still be 4, or else it's the same as that digit. Well, I'm still struggling to find what to do. I mean, this is the trouble with these Knight's Move puzzles, is they can be a little bit attritional sometimes. You just need to plug on until you can work out what they're telling you. 3 is in one of those positions in box 3. And they all see that, which therefore cannot be 3. I mean, that's interesting, but it's almost not quite worth pencil marking because it still leaves 4 cells for 3 in box 2. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm going to have to just come up with something else that's surprising somewhere. 1, 8, 9. Now, which boxes? We've restricted 2 and 7 here. 5 could go in any of those cells, which is annoying. Not, sorry, any of those cells, which is annoyingly too many. And 6 as well. Where's 4 in column 7? Because the position for 4 in box 3 says it's not in those cells. That 4 says it's not in those. So 4 is down in one of these 3. Does that do anything? Not for you, not for me either. May well be that you've spotted something and are shouting it at the screen at this point, in which case I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. I'd love to. 7, 8, 4, 1, 2, 7, 8, 4. Eight, 1, 2, 4, 7. These are selected from 3, 5, 6, 9. If they didn't involve a 3, that would be a 5, 6, 7, 9 quad. And this would be a 3, 4 pair. Would that do anything? I don't think it would. We've also got these 2 thermo tips in the same row. Now they might be a 7, 9 pair, but that would force the 7 in box 2. It'd be lovely to proceed knowing that that wasn't a 7, 9 pair. Would it do anything else? Force the 7 in box 2. I don't know. Maybe I should be colouring again. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what's going on. And what is helpful. We've got these corners done. The pockets, and I thought that was going to be really useful. Now, 4 in the final column is here or here. That is definite. What of it? I don't know. 42815. This one is 3, 6, 7, or 9, and it sees both of those cells. Oh, 4 there is looking down here. This is a 7, 4 pair. I had not seen that. That's quite big, actually. 1, 3, 2, 8, 4, 7. This is a 5, 6, 9 triple. That's huge. This one couldn't be 5 by the Knight's Move. 5, 6, 9. That one can't be 9 from the corner. This is now 3, and this is 7. And I mean, that's just been available. This is now a 6, 9 pair, and they will at least both look at both that cell and that cell. I don't know if they'll do anything. Let's look at this box. 4, 6, and in fact 7 is seeing a number of cells there. So we've got 4, 6 and 9 left to place in box 4. That's 7. It's not quite reaching up to here. It's in one of those two. These have been reduced but not dramatically. 3 can't be here. Okay, the 6, 9 pair. 1, 6, 9, 8, 5. This can't be 4 or 2. So 3 and 7 are the only candidates left here. And whichever of them it is going to go into one of these cells. If it's a 7, it goes there. If it's a 3, it goes there. That's weird. I can't mark up these two as having either a 3 here or a 7 here. Although I find it very interesting that that has come down to the reality. Goodness me. Okay, that 3 also looks here. So that can't be a 3. Now, is that the only place left for 3 somehow? No. In row 3. I don't think it is, because we haven't ruled it out of here. It was in one of those. It's in one of those 3 places in box 3. We worked that out earlier, and they all see this cell, so this can't be a 3. And now the 3 in this row is definitely in one of these 2 cells along with 4. Good golly, that's a 3, 4 pair. 7 in this row only has 1 berth. There it is. That fixes 7, 4. That takes 4 out of that cell at least and out of that one. Now this is a 6, 9 pair, both looking at this cell, which must be 5. This is the sort of thing that becomes fun in a Knight's Move puzzle. And I don't use the term advisedly, I sincerely believe it. Now I've got a 6, 9 pair in box 1, so that's a 5. Now I am going to colour these 6s and 9s just in case. I don't know that it's relevant, but I'm scared to leave them uncoloured now that I've spotted them. Oh, that can't be red. There we go. That sees both red and yellow. So that's a 4. And that one is the red cell. And now red has to be in one of those 2 and one of these 2. 6 and 9. Come on. Come on, 6 and 9. That's obviously a red-yellow pair there. 6, 9. Did yellow go anywhere? Well, yellow went down into one of these 3. But that's not very powerful. Red, on the other hand, is in one of those 3. So it could be 6 in the corner. Or it could be 9 in the other corner. If red was 9, this digit is a 7. No, I don't know. Okay, forget the colouring. That was just a sidelight on what is beginning to develop, surely now. 5 has been ruled out of those cells by our placement of 5 in row 3. So that's a 5, and one of these 3, all untouched by the Knight's Move. And not that one of these 2. So we've got a 3, 4 pair here that I haven't been using and should have been. 2, 3, 4, 1, 6. So 5 is in one of these. 8 is in one of these. 7 and 9 are up here, but, well, no, 7 is in one of these 2. So I'm now going to take out all the markings and put them back in again. 7 can't be there because of that pair. 8 can't be here because of this 8. 5, I've just worked out, has to be in the top 2, but 9 could be anywhere and is forming an X-wing with 9s here. And not a helpful one. 1, 4, 7, 5, 8. So what else have we got going on? 2. 2 can't be in those cells, but that was the one previously eliminated, and things have not changed as regards that. This is 5, 8 or 9. That's 7, 8 or 9. There is a 3 in one of these cells. I don't think the Knight's Move is reaching them unless we get to place it here later. 2. 2 is now in one of these 2 cells in row 4, but they're not looking at any other specific cell on their own. We know 2's in one of these and one of these. Let's just look at 2's. It's a lot of possible positions in boxes 5 and 8, especially for 2's. Well, or is it? Actually, I can rule out this one, which is seen by all the positions in box 5. So I am going to corner mark 2's into those cells. Now, I think I've just worked out that this can't be a 2, but that might be wrong. If that was a 2, this would be the 2 in box 9. That would be the one in box 8. And there would be somewhere for 2 in box 5. So I certainly haven't worked that out, which is a shame because it would have been quite big. So still work to do, plugging away 35 minutes in, but on the other hand, reasonably confident in this puzzle that we can get through. Eight in box 3. We have ruled into one of those positions, so that is ruling out this one. In fact, I've corner marked 8 before, so that's down to 7 or 9. I should have noticed that. Oh, we have this position of 8's here that was putting it here. That's probably how I did it. Now, 8's in one of those 2 in row 1, but they're not providing any comfort for me. Okay, how about here? 1, 6, 9, 8, 5. 7 is in one of those. 2's in one of those. 3 and 4, therefore, where are they? 4's in one of those 3. 3 is remarkably unrestrained. Three and 4 have to appear in these 3 cells as well. And they're all seeing that cell, which can't be 3 or 4. And oh, I think it's a naked single if that's right. I mean, this is complicated, but in the bottom row, 3 and 4 have to appear in these 3 cells. They all see that cell, this one by the 9th move. So this can't be 3 or 4. It also can't be 1, 8, 9, 7, 6 because of that pair, or 2. So it is a 5. It's a weird, horrible naked single. But that places 5 in box 8 there. I don't know, I'm sceptical that placing 5 isn't going to get much done, but look, it does. It fixes an 8-9 pair, and this is a 7. That's not a 5, so 7 in the top row is there. Come on, keep working. No, that doesn't resolve the 7's here. I think we've done all the 5's in the puzzle now. So that bit is over. This is an 8-9 pair looking at that cell, which also sees 4. And I think it can be 3 or 6. And whatever it is, has to be in one of these 2 in box 5. So if it was a 3, it would be there. And there, and there. And then, my goodness, this is complicated, but it works. If this was a 3, I'm just going to take you through that again. It couldn't be here or here in box 5. It would have to be in one of those 2. Then it would be here in box 6. So you end up with 3's being positioned in these positions, and ask yourself then, where can 3 go in box 8? And there's nowhere. Extraordinary. This cell that I've just sort of highlighted rules out this one. This one that we began with rules out this one, and this one already rules out that. So this is not a 3. This is a 6, and that is a huge find because now red becomes 9, yellow becomes 6. I mean, I'm going to take it. It's hard to get a win in this sort of puzzle, so I'm taking anything I can find. This is a 3-4 pair now. which it looks a lot like that 3-4 pair. Now, down the central column, we have 2, 3, and 8 to place. That can't be 3, and that can't be 3. So 3 is here. That places 8 in box 8, 8 in box 5. That places 2. No! It doesn't place 2 in box 5 because there's another 2 highlighted. Thank goodness. Let's just get rid of the 8 pencil marks. Okay, those 2 positions for 2 in box 8 both see that. So that is not a 2. That's why I was saying no, because I thought it had to be there and it couldn't be there. So that's 2. And that places 2 in box 6. Wow, that was a scary moment. That places 2 in box 9. And now we can do 2 in box 8. And that's all the 2s. And I feel like we're kind of a little bit homeward bound now. This has to be 9. It's the only place it can go. In box 5, that's 3. That sorts out 4 and 3. That 4 is looking across by the knight's move. A last hurrah for Knighty McKnightface. And then we can go 7, 4, 7. If we were flying a plane, we could. 6, 4, 3. That's 5. That can't be 9 on the knight's move, so we are finishing off. Sorry, we are, if I can type. 4 and 9 to place in this bottom box. Let's get rid of all the colouring now because it's all done its job. 6 and 9 here, and in row 6 we have 6 and 3, and we finally complete our maximum break after 40 minutes. 40 minutes and 47 seconds. So there was one lot of 4-7 in that time. Snooker by Weechu, what a brilliant puzzle. I mean, that's tough. That's a debut, by the way. Incredible. But I mean, it's quite hard. Very, very interesting Sudoku. I'm very impressed by the setup there and the way that that does flow drop by drop at some points. Great fun. Thank you for watching us on the channel as always. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.